Here toward the we can just pull them in. I mean, we're here. We could talk
Absolutely.
about that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Ocean's Pit, little show about big things, folks. Today is Wednesday, May 3rd, and we are, it's a beautiful day, first of all. We are in a great room right now. First of all, an incredible background behind us, Illinois Rock Museum in Joliet, right off of Route 66. It's an incredible place, folks, and I just seen a little part of it. So it's great. And part of this is our guest today, my good buddy Dino Manzella. Dino, pleasure, my friend. Always. The man behind sound and stuff with Seventh Heaven. We'll talk about that. We got a lot of good stuff we're going to talk about today, folks. We got a busy week. Tomorrow, our guest, of course, my co-host, Laura Ocean. My wife, Friday, we have Loretta Remington from the band Bad Medicine, not Bad Reputation. They do a lot of Joan Jett, so I'm excited about that. Let's get right to our sponsors, folks, because without our sponsors, folks, doesn't work. Ace Hardware, Norwich, Des Plaines, Evergreen Park, Warrenville. Buy local, shop local. Remember the great things that Ace Hardware does. Raphael and Melissa and Jackie do an incredible job, folks. Right now, they got some special offer with spring in the air. You're looking for a brand new grill. How about $20 off any grill purchase just by saying grill your ace off? That's right. I want to grill my ace off with Ace Hardware, folks. Very simple. Get $20 off. Remember, Ace, helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods. Absolutely our good friends from Ace Hardware.
I love that.
Isn't that cool? Grill your ace off. You got to love it, man.
Who came up with that?
I think it was Raffaello, one of the owners there. Okay. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about everything. And I know, let's just get one or two more sponsors out. Let's get Garelli, folks. Garelli Pavement Service, folks. Garelli knows and curbs appeal of your home and business, largely affected by your concrete and asphalt. That's right. Garelli takes care of asphalt and driveways, commercial lots. Call Laura and Bob for a free estimate. That's Garelli Pavement Service, 815-271-5835. Tell them Tony O sent you. Ocean's Pit. Dino Manzella. Dino, thanks for being here, buddy. I'm got a lot of stuff to talk about, and we try to get you on before, trying to work on something, trying to come up with different things, and I got some stuff I'm just going to throw at you.
Oh boy!
And then you got some stuff we're going to throw, and then maybe we'll also get Ron Romero to come on too, folks, a little later in the show.
Yeah, the curator, Ron Romero. We're at the museum here in Joliet. And Ron was gracious enough to let us come in and do the show here.
Absolutely, it'd be a lot of fun. All right, so this is good, Dino. Let's get right to it real fast. Before we start, Thursday night will be at Zaza's in Lake Barrington. That's a 7:00 hit with Jeff Dubray. Friday will be at Chicago Prime Steakhouse, 8:00 hit in Schaumburg. So a lot of good stuff happening, and let's get right to Dino. I don't want to waste any time because we got some other sponsors. We'll work on that. All right, Dino Manzella, Dino T. What does that stand for?
Teresa.
Oh, really?
I'm not kidding. Saint
Now,
Teresa.
My
mom.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, growing up Italian, now that makes a lot of sense.
Sicilian. I'm full-blooded Sicilian.
So wait, that's what I was going to ask you. So are you Sicilian or are you Italian?
Full-blooded Sicilian.
So you don't say you're Italian, you say you're Sicilian.
Here.
Okay.
That's the Sicilian.
Yeah, see there?
But I'm full-blooded Sicilian. I am not Italian. If I said I was Italian, I would get hit in the back of the head with a shoot from my grandmother. And she's been gone a little while.
And on your side, so I can understand that, yes. So, like, I was born in Italy. I was born in Lucca, Alto Pascio, so I speak it. I'm a Northern Italian.
Okay.
So whatever. But, yeah, very cool. All right. So where were you born, do you know?
Skokie.
Skokie, Illinois. An Italian in Skokie must have really freaked people out over there.
My grandparents, my parents, they grew up like Taylor Street. So,
okay. Yeah.
But Skokie Valley Hospital, Skokie, whatever. I think it's Skokie Valley Hospital. That's where I was born. And the Jews took care of me.
They took care of you. Big family?
It depends on which side.
Okay. Growing up, what was it like in the Manzella home?
I only have one sister.
Okay.
I wanted a brother. And my parents were like, at times they would say, hey, maybe we'll get like a foster kid or something like that. And that was a possibility, but it never happened. Right. But to be honest, my sister was plenty for me. I mean, she was a tough girl.
She give you a hard time, or she supports you what you were doing when you were a
When I
kid?
was younger, we fought a little bit, but really not that much. Not, I mean, compared to other people, I hear other people who they talk about their conflicts with their siblings. My sister and you know, you're young, you're going to fight over silly stuff, but now, oh my gosh, she is just the gem.
Jeez,
She's
that's
the
very cool.
strongest woman I know. Well, one
And,
of. My mother, my mother said she was born with both hands on her hips.
See,
That had to be a hard birth.
so you know that's a good one. Dino, now, first of all, people might not know if they know you work with Seventh Heaven, everything you do, but you got an incredible voice.
Well, thanks.
Where did that come from? Did growing up, was there someone you seen on television or grandparents or somebody you said, boy, I want to do that?
I sang just like everybody else when I was in my band. And then all of a sudden, when I had a recording studio in Chicago, a kid came in and he sang with so much emotion. And he was a white kid. And I'm like, how in the world? And when they were gone, I was like, I could emulate that. And I started to do that. I really came into my singing voice in my 30s.
But I'm talking about when you were a little kid.
Didn't sing.
Who didn't sing at all.
No, I mean, emotion-wise, let me rephrase that. Like songs like Barry Manilow's "Mandy,"
Yeah.
I remember having a 45 of it in the basement, and I would sing that. But for some reason, I mean, it was such a sad song. Like this girl is just
Wait a
let
minute,
her
you know
go.
it's about his dog.
Oh, is it?
It's about his dog. Now that might just fuck up your whole childhood.
I know
It
that.
was not about a girl. Mandy was written about Barry Manilow's dog.
Well, you sent him.
sent
Sent
him
her
away.
away. Okay, so Mandy, the dog, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was like, there was a lot of emotion in that song,
Sure.
and so what I did was I would sing it, and not like I would sing it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I would sing it. But I mean, for some reason, I would have little tears, and I was like, because I saw people online. I forget who that was. Something Williams. Some guy named Williams, but he used to sing it. He used to cry when he sang, and I was like, maybe you need to just bring out that emotion. And I would do that during Mandy. And then I was like, but I never really did that when I got older, you know, until I started like bringing out the emotion whenever I sing. Like now, I could pull whatever it is. I just pull it from inside.
Yeah.
Think about the writer, whoever's writing the song.
Sure.
I just think about that situation and sing from that perspective. And that helps.
And everything that you put into it. I mean, you can take a song and sing it, but everything that you put into it, like just fantastic stuff. Dino Manzella, very cool. All right, so that's it with music. I mean, music can just keep going on. Got to get a couple more sponsors on the way, folks. Let's get right to Roy McCampbell, attorney at law. That's right, Roy McCampbell, attorney at law, statewide law practice that is client-focused and results-driven. Give Roy a call at 708-275-4264. Laura Ocean Solutions. That's right, increasing profits or reducing credit card fees. You'll never have to shop again with Laura Ocean Solutions. And one more, let's go to Deutsch Power Center out of Elgin, Illinois, servicing the construction and diesel industry in Chicago for the last 100 years. That's Deutsch Power Center, 224-276-6550. And we'll get back to some other ones as we go along. We are live at the Illinois Rock Museum here in Joliet, Rock and Roll Museum. Very, very cool, folks. Remember, you're watching us now on the Tony Ocean Show Facebook page, the Mo Carraro Facebook page, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and the Ocean Spit page. So I hope you guys are enjoying. Dino, let's get to it. Do you have, if someone came up to you and said, hey, Dino, what is your favorite type of music? If you're, put it this way, you're going on a desert island, you can only bring 3 records with you.
It's something from Queensryche.
Okay.
Love that
So
band.
Jeff Tate
Progressive.
was one of your favorites?
Jeff, yeah, I love
Okay,
his voice.
all right.
It would have to be. I was brought up with a lot of musicals and operas, so I'd have to bring probably Jesus Christ Superstar, because that's my favorite.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, there's a Chicago band off Broadway. They're on album. Love that.
Every song was great. And Quick Turns was good too.
Yes.
The second song was very good too. Let's say hello to some people. Dennis, we got Lake Geneva, Santa Barbara. Kathy, how you doing? Mary, big Seventh Heaven fan. Gina, how you doing? Gina Manzella, there.
That's my sister.
Sister. See that?
There she
God
is.
bless you. Mark. Hi, Gina. How you doing, hon?
It's Gia.
Gia? Okay, Gia. I'm sorry.
It's short for Giannina. Oh, strange thing. Okay. So my middle name is Teresa.
Okay.
Girl's name. Hers?
Yeah.
Germaine.
See that?
Which could be like male or female, but it was
right,
like,
it could work.
I'm saying it's male because I have a female.
Absolutely. Very, very cool. All right. So that's pretty cool how you went from Queensryche to musicals. Now, you know, were you musical, go and see musicals and plays? Did you like that growing up? You still do?
My mom had it was musicals and Bee Gees and operas in the house,
Sure.
and that's pretty much the staple of what we listen to.
Was there any Italian spoken? Did you speak Italian? Do you do anything like
No,
that?
no.
Nothing at all.
My
Sicilian,
grandparents
excuse
did.
me.
Yeah,
Sicilian, yeah.
my grandparents would speak it, but only like whenever they're speaking to each other, and they didn't want us to know what was
So
going
there
on.
was none of that music in the house.
No, at times. I think now my mom plays more of it than she did when we were younger. I think more
Okay.
because I don't know. I don't know why. But
Okay, there you go. Very cool. All right, so I love that. Good stuff. All right, let's see here. Now you got a pretty impressive little bio. I mean, you've touched upon a little bit of everything here, which is very, very cool. Now, when did you get into sound engineering and stuff? How did that come about? Were you by yourself? One of your friends did it, or
I was in a band. And the band was it was like we couldn't agree on some stuff. They were
Okay.
going to more into like almost a thrash metal, and I was still at the edge of hair metal. I still
Yeah.
love that, the ballads and stuff
Sure,
like
sure.
that. And they wanted to actually go to California.
okay?
And they were talking about that, and I didn't have any interest to do that. I had interest in doing what we were doing, not the faster stuff and the
But
scrub
if they
stuff.
would have stuck with the music you liked, would you have went to California?
Yeah, but we wouldn't have made it.
Oh, but you still would have went.
Yeah, I would have went.
All right. Okay. All right. So the band leaves, you break up, whatever it is. And
I bought a 4-track recorder.
That was it.
I bought it. It was just like a little Fostex 4-track. Cost me $750. I think
a lot of money at that time.
Oh yeah, 86, 87, 87.
Sure.
But I got it from what was it? Something on Ogden. It was a music store on Ogden Street. But I rented it from them, and then I ended up getting, because I was like, I got to pay a lot of money for this. I would have friends who would come over and they wanted to record with me, and I would ask them to come over,
Sure.
and we would record songs. And then sometimes they go, "Hey, my friend and I have a song. You mind if I come over and record?" I'm like, "Yeah, why don't you come over?"
Okay.
And I'd be coming home from my day job, and then I would see like a band unloading in the driveway. I'm like, man, I should probably make some money on this stuff. It doesn't make sense.
People coming
I
in.
did. I started charging them, and once I started charging them, then I had more money for like better microphones. I actually built a wall for like a separation between the talent room and the control room, and then it propelled itself from there.
I'm going to ask you something, because you're a singer and I'm a singer too. And this is something a little different, but it still has to do with
Sure.
what you do. Wireless or cordless? Cord.
Cord.
You'll always get a better. I noticed that too.
Yeah.
But how many people are still using the cord?
Not many. In fact, when I was talking to 1096, their singer, I don't know his name, but that guy's vocals are so good.
Yeah.
And I mixed them over at Tailgaters, and I could not. I mean, I was just having a tough time getting the full range. I mean, he really sounds good.
Yeah, and they all sing good. Even John Ernst, the bass player, is a good friend of mine
Yes.
too. He's got a great voice too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely. So you believe that, and not many people use the cord anymore, just because they can't move around. Basically, really.
Find something, swing it. I don't know.
Swing it and throw it.
You can
Do
swing
something.
it.
Do
There's
something.
some fun stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be original, but I mean, it does sound better. You can get the capsule you like, the top piece of the
Yeah,
microphone that
yeah.
you actually listen to. You can get the capsule you like.
Yeah.
But it's just the bandwidth that goes from the microphone to the receiver. And there's just, unless you pay a lot of money for them, you're not going to get it. Most of those microphones are just for dictation.
Yeah, I got it. So they're not really what's
Yeah, for doing a presentation.
Now, starting in the business like we did, it seemed like when the bands would come out, original bands or whatever kind of wherever they were playing, we had a lot more venues back then than we do now. But it seemed like when people were playing, it was a big event. Now it seems more like it's a social event when you're doing concerts and shows, right?
Yeah.
Do you see the same thing?
Yeah.
That same feeling isn't the same anymore.
I think it's the way you promote the show. A lot of people, I mean, back when, let me go back a little
Yeah.
bit, because like in places like Toto's,
Yeah.
that
And Schaumburg was great.
It was a great venue,
Yeah.
but it was too big. Nobody could fill it. National acts could not fill it.
We
It
opened
always
for Rick
looked empty.
Springfield there. We always looked empty.
It always looked empty. So, and if for some reason, like if we're sitting here, we're having this conversation, and we're having a good conversation, but if we were to have the same conversation, there were like a boatload of people around us. In our heads, we had a better time. And it has nothing to do with what the conversation we had.
Yeah.
It had the fact that humans just feel that it's more fun when they see other people around them having more fun. It's stupid. But it is part of human or conditioning that we do upon ourselves. So, yeah.
How did Dino? Let's get to Seventh Heaven real fast. How
Sure.
did that come about? You've been with them now since when?
Richie was it was it was a while ago. So Richie's mom wanted him to get a day job, and I had a recording studio in my parents' basement in Mount Prospect. He lived in Des Plaines.
All right.
So Richie's mom would circle like different ads and things, and I was advertising for one. And Richie gave my studio a call in the middle of the night. I'm up. I mean, in the middle of the night.
You
I'm
guys
up.
got some crazy hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm up, and he goes, he doesn't say anything. I go, After Night Productions, and he click. And I'm like, and later on he told me, because I remember the phone call. I remember it because I thought it was kind of odd. I usually don't get phone calls in the middle of the night, but I remember that one specifically. But he said he hung up because he couldn't believe someone would actually answer the phone at that late at night. And but anyway, eventually this guy named, I think it was Dave Mueller from Windy City Rocks. He ended up bringing Richie over to my house. I believe he was the one who brought us together. And because I knew Dave and Rich knew Dave. Anyway, he came over and he saw my studio setup. And at the time I had a 12-track Akai recorder. I love that deck. I still have one of them. And I liked that. And so I ended up showing him like the songs I was doing, the studio and stuff like that. And Rich liked what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I said, if you want to come in, you can mix some bands. I mean, the equipment can run 24/7. My parents were so supportive when it came to that type of
That's
stuff.
important. Yeah.
So, and not my sister so much because she slept right above where the
So
studio
she didn't
was.
like that, right?
I mean, I had to okay, drums can only be done during a certain time, but after that,
right.
But we ended up hitting it off, and Richie ended up doing some sessions at my studio, and we did a Christmas album together. Called Merry Christmas in Chicago, I think we call it. And we had a bunch of bands from Chicagoland come in and do Christmas songs.
Okay.
And it was for a benefit for the homeless people in Chicago.
Very, very cool. That
Yeah.
was nice. And that's how the friendship came, and that's how it developed from there.
Yeah, and then he would say, come on out and mix my band. Like a lot of bands, I would record them at my studio even. They would say, come out and mix them. I'm like, no, I'm not going to blow my ears. Like, I can control how loud it is here.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, you can control how loud it is there. I'm like, do people feel it's okay? They go, you don't have to be like black, because most of the clubs I went to back then were like, why?
Yeah, why? Yeah.
And maybe it's because I was closer to speakers and not at the front of house location where the mixer is. But I don't know.
Do you know what happened to the Chicago music scene? Why did the clubs close? Why did the record labels leave? In your opinion, why do you think they left Chicago? 79, 80, 81.
Yeah.
Besides off Broadway, there were so many bands that we were talking about earlier this afternoon that should have been huge, in my opinion. And they all, I mean, I know a lot of artists left, either went to LA, they went to Nashville, whatever. Why? What happened to Chicago?
That's a hard question to answer. I mean, I don't really my thought is that they really, it's the public. They just change their perspective of what they want to do. I mean, when you think about it, and when people talk about what types of things they want to do at night, it's like bowling, a movie, restaurant. Concert really wasn't one of those three, really. You know what I mean?
On the weekends, they would maybe go out and see things. But yeah, it seemed like it all changed.
Yeah.
You're watching Ocean Spit, Little Show About Big Things. No, this is not the Dennis from Lake Geneva. This is not the new studio. You are looking at the Illinois Rock Museum, Rock and Roll Museum here in Joliet. This is one of the rooms where they have, I think it holds about 800 people, where they have actual concerts and stuff, or they're going to be having. So that's where we're at. And Dino Manzella here from Seventh Heaven. Let's get to another quick sponsor. Is it still loud as hell in some events? Yes. Why? Albert from the Ron Onesti organization is asking, and Dino would be the man to tell you, why is it still so loud in certain places?
I think some of the sound guys might just be ones who like it like that.
Or the singers who want it up because they can't hear. So they're pleasing the people they work for.
Yeah, that stage volume, though. I mean, sometimes the older the older bands like allowed stage volume. So maybe this is maybe Albert, this might be part of it. If you're at a smaller club and it's loud, it could be because the stage volume, meaning the amplifiers on the stage, are so loud that the PA, the only part that I control, are the two pieces on each side of and sometimes a front fill, but two sides of the stage. But you're getting a fill of both the stage volume and that. And normally, if the stage volume, if the guitars are up so loud, and sometimes they are because people have them down low and they don't have ears in their feet, and so they're so loud, they're blowing right in the face of the crowd. I've got to turn up the vocals or whatever else is not stage volume, acoustic guitar, keyboard, something that's not hitting them in the face, drums, you know what I mean? Yeah. If you got to turn that stuff up. So maybe you just got to get above it all.
There you go, Albert. And you would know Albert works for Round OST Entertainment. It's crazy over there. Susan, how you doing, folks? We are here, Ocean's Pit, little show about big things. You know what it's time for, folks? Yep, it's time for another sponsor. Let's not forget our good buddies from Don Esteban Cigars, Tarpon Springs, Florida. Folks, get your hand rolled Tony Ocean cigars or any other cigars you like. Want to call it 727-366-7536 and get those shipped right to your home. And let's not forget Trico Hair Experts, folks, recreating great hair days out of Rosemont, Illinois. Anthony and Carmela, 773-366-7536. All right. Ocean's Pit, little show about big things. Every show is dedicated to the first responders. Dino Manzella here from Seventh Heaven. Dino, biggest crowd you and the boys played to?
It would definitely have to. Well, I don't know biggest crowd, but most eventful was playing Soldier Field in front of before Bon Jovi and Kid Rock.
Yeah.
And I
tell the story how that happened. Weren't they asking a contest to whoever submitted?
We didn't even want to do it. I mean, we didn't ask to be on it, but a lot of our fans just got together and just started nominating us. We're like, all right, we're on board.
Yeah,
we're good.
Pretty cool feeling.
Yeah.
Did you guys have some management? Wasn't somebody with Bon Jovi at that time, or somebody friends of yours, or somebody involved with the band or anything like that?
Not Alec John Such. He managed us along with JY from Styx, but at the time he wasn't in the band.
Yeah, he left or whatever.
So he had nothing to do with it. In fact, I think if because I don't think John Bon Jovi and Alec John Such were really getting along.
Okay.
So if John knew that we were managed by him at an earlier time, not at that time, he might have, said no.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a big deal. Soldiers feel. How cool is that? What's that feeling like, knowing that you're about to go on, guys?
Terrible.
5 minutes, right?
It's terrible.
What are the boys? What were they feeling?
I'm sure really well. I'll tell you the story about now. When you do sound, you're doing it, and normally whenever you're doing sound, you're doing it on something that you know. They have all the newest gear. So
this wasn't stuff you knew. You just walked into it, right?
They told us that we were going to have a half hour for sound check. Like a half hour to load in, half hour for sound check. We ended up loading it quick. It was a little rainy out. I don't know what delayed it, but they ended up giving me 20 minutes to do sound check.
To learn the board and everything.
I was in front, but it was a digital board I'd never seen in my entire life. And digital boards were just new back then. And I'm looking at thing going, it looks kind of familiar. I know where things are, sort of, but there's always routing and stuff like that. Never being on this particular board was going to be a challenge. But I was like, I got a guy over there. He's going to help me out. And they said, he's there if you have any questions. But you're trying to puff up.
Yeah, help. How many people you think were at that concert? How many people?
Oh, I think they said 80,000.
Now, you've been played to you guys it's a machine. Seventh Heaven is a machine.
Sure.
And when I went to the house to have our meeting, and just that little thing that Richie showed me, everything that you guys do, it's definitely a machine. It's you guys work your ass off to get where you got. You should be very proud of yourselves.
He doesn't get much sleep.
Well, besides that, but you guys, it's a great unit and a great band. All right. So what would you say the worst show you guys ever did?
I can't do that.
Come on, you don't have to say where.
Find out where my worst friend is.
You don't have to say where. You don't have to say where. Just maybe there's.
If I say the name, they're gonna know.
How about the circumstance?
We were told PA was provided. And we went there, and it was a PA on sticks, and I think we had 4 channels,
like a Bose system.
Yeah, it was a little difficult.
How did that work out?
Not well. No, it was all less stage volume. So I had vocals and keyboards, and I think that's about it.
All right. So you guys met a lot of different celebrities through your career.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you don't have to get into details. I'm going to ask you a good one and a bad one. Who would you say the coolest guy or woman that you met? Like, wow, like you were awe when you seen these people.
John Waite.
John Waite's fantastic. He was a
Yeah.
great guy too. I met him
Yeah.
too many times. All right, prick or just not nice.
John Waite.
John,
No, no, I don't know. I really didn't. You know what? From my perspective, I really didn't get to meet too many people. The only reason why, because the band meets them. I'm
sure,
busy
but,
doing
sometimes
production.
you guys are all
I'm like,
together.
figuring out like what we're gonna do. Like if we're gonna put up screens here and there. The only
Yeah,
reason why I even talked to John Waite is because it was over at the Corn Fest. We had to use screens, but he was on before us for some reason. I don't know why. So he's on before us, and we were going to put up our video screens, and we had time while he was setting up. Maybe we could put up our video screens. I had to talk him into it. The only way I could talk him into it is to say, "Hey, I'm going to put your logo up there. Would you let us, like when you guys are setting up your equipment, can we put these video screens behind you, and I'll put your logo up there?" And that's why I talked.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I remember when we first started in this business or playing in the clubs, and every Friday you'd run to Rolling Stone Records or you'd run somewhere to pick up that Illinois Entertainer.
Yeah.
And I know you had a lot of stuff to do with the Windy City Magazine, and Chicago Rocker was kind of cool. Those days were cool. Just to see your name at the club or the page that you paid for or whatever. That's gone, right? Is that all gone?
Yeah, because you've got the phone. Everybody's
internet.
on a phone.
Internet.
Yeah, the advertisement's a lot easier.
But the Illinois Entertainer is still out
It's
there.
cool. Yeah, it's cool. But
there's nothing there no more.
I mean, some people gravitate towards paper. They just like it, like a book compared to a Nook.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
How was that? I used to love the Chicago Rocker. How was that like working for those magazines?
We didn't. The only reason why I'm in there is because of a guy named Steve Mueller. Steve Mueller was a friend of mine, and he said, "Hey, Dino, I have a problem." And I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Your dad's a printer, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "I just did an interview with Rudy Sarzo from Ozzy Osbourne and or Whitesnake, I think it was. And he goes, I need to do I need to put it in print because I told him I was from a place called the Chicago Metal Report." I'm like,
really wasn't.
What? There was no such thing. He just wanted to talk to these people. So he went around and he did this interview. He did one with Dave Mustaine too, under the same name, Chicago Metal Report. Yeah. I'm like, and we tried to figure out something. Finally, we ended up doing like photocopies. We stapled them together. But we were like, do due diligence. We wanted to like, at least we put them out there. So we went to the Thirsty Whale and put them all over the place and other places. Tony LaBarbera comes across one of these, seeing national interviews with national acts on photocopy paper. And he gives us a call. He goes, I need to meet with you guys. So he met with us and we talked and we ended up trading off. It was because Steve would just give everything away.
Yeah.
I was like, he said, I'll put all your stuff inside the magazine for free. I'm like, what do we get out of it? And he goes, what do you want? I go, give us a page of advertising. Give you half a page. I'm like, a full page is worth it. If we're giving you 4 pages, 1 page of advertising. So we can at least make a little bit of money back. As long as you don't step on any of my advertisers. So he gave me every single rocker that was there. So I had to go through and make sure I wasn't hitting any of them. But that's how we got involved.
Yeah, and those days are gone too. They know a lot about you here. Jesus Christ Superstar, 94.
Yeah.
How did that come about? That's got to be really cool.
And my mom.
So what did you do?
Playing it all the time. You know what? The role of Judas is just right in my wheelhouse. Just how it's originally written, it right there. And so I was like,
do you feel bad for Judas, or do you agree with what he did?
The perspective of the perspective of Jesus Christ Superstar is from Judas's perspective,
sure.
And everybody in the show is a victim. I mean, Jesus is a victim; he doesn't want the cup. Pontius Pilate's a victim. Judas is a victim. I mean, everybody. Peter wants to do it, and that's not really biblically true. So, do I feel bad for Judas in that role? I do. In fact, the funny thing. When you get deep into roles, and I felt so bad turning Jesus in every night because you're up on stage, you're like you're turning him in. I'm like, when you're in that, it just feels bad. there were some times I'm like, maybe I just don't do it.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
I
just change
maybe
the
I
script.
just what would happen?
I changed my
I mean,
mind.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. But I mean, just for a moment, I was like, man, I could really ruin the whole thing.
That would be very funny. Ocean Spit, little show about big things, folks. Dino Manzella from Seventh Heaven in the house, folks. Armando Supermarkets, buy local and shop local, 925 Liberty Street in Elgin, Illinois. Don't forget Mikey and Gigi from Crash Champions Collision Auto Repair. For all your collision auto repair needs, go to crashchampions.com. All right, so this is important too. I mentioning it in the car. People know. Forgotten Scripts. What is this?
Forgotten Scripts is a book I wrote on extinct languages and alphabets. In school, it started out there really. In school, I would look up Elder Futhark is what it was called. It was like Norse runes, and it was like if you look at the letters, they actually represent phonetic backgrounds. And so I was like, this is kind of interesting. Like you can actually write words, and I was passing notes in class with Elder Futhark because I knew it by heart, and I would teach my friends.
I got it.
And then we would be able to pass notes in class, and it was kind of cool.
See, that is cool. Now, do you ever re-release that or?
No, but I will say this. This I think is the thing that made it's about written language. It like reading about historical things and why do we have writing. This is real interesting to me at least. People always thought that writing was magical, and the reason is because you were told that by scribing something, by writing into or like carving into a piece of wood, you can actually speak to someone thousands of miles from where you're at and 1,000 years after you've died.
Wow.
Nothing but pure magic could explain that type of phenomenon. So people believed it was magical. And because of that, they ended up like a guy would come up to him with a sword and go, dude, can you make this sword magical?
Yeah.
Like, hey, what do you want? Make it hurt a lot.
Make it hurt a lot.
And there's actually a sword called Marr, Marr, and it says they wrote increase to pain on the sword in their script. And so they have sages who would just get paid to make a sword magical. It wasn't magical, obviously, but I mean, they believed it was because it was magic to be able to talk long distances without being there. They figured this was it.
Good stuff, man.
It
is. A lot of stuff that you surprised the hell out of me, some of the stuff with you, Dino. All right, let's take you back to March 2020. COVID-19.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that you thought? Your family and friends first, and then, of course, your business. First thing, all right, 2 weeks, going to be down, take a little vacation. It's going to be okay.
I thought
everything we back up.
Yeah, we were told it was going to be like a 2-week thing, so I figured we'd just have a 2-week vacation. No big deal. Stay at home with the wife would be wonderful.
Right. After that second week, what was going through your head?
How do we market this? Because we're going to not be able to work out there. And so I called up Richie and I said, we could capitalize on this. And we've got an audience which is not moving. We got to do online stuff. We can get together ourselves and do online things. We have to figure out how to charge for it and everything else. I said, we have never in the history of the world ever had a situation where we have a captive audience that has nothing to do at home. I said, we could capitalize on this.
And a lot of people did. And for my business, we were maybe out 3 weeks. And then a lot of the Italian restaurants never closed. You know, it is what it is, or they put tents up, or you played outside and you did this, and people still came to the outside part of it. But besides that, whatever happened, what was your take on the whole thing? Your opinion?
Now or then?
Now going back. And the vaccination, and you get it, you don't get it, you're not going to get it.
Control. I see. Control.
UPS, you had to have it. FedEx, you didn't.
It didn't make sense. If you can't debate it, there's something wrong there. And so I think there's something with control. I don't believe in either side. I mean, I think medicine is good for people in certain situations, but not when it's forced.
Yeah, that's the part I never understood. And the point that I'm trying to say is that you didn't have Illinois was completely shut down. This is how hypocritical Illinois and the people in charge of. All right. Everything was shut down. Nothing can happen. Lollapalooza's coming to town. So what? Let's just open everything up for 3 or 4 days, 250,000 people a day for 3 or 4 days. Cash. I knew a couple guys. I knew a lot of the people that were checking the IDs and stuff. There was no vaccination cards being checked. But hypocritical that they were. Yeah, come on in, no problem.
No, it's all posturing. A lot of places we would go to, they would say you need a Vax card or whatever, and if you're not, you need a test, whatever.
Yeah.
And I would go in there, and some place would be like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, I just went out of my way to get this test, which cost me whatever amount of money, and now you're going to just say, yeah, whatever.
It was just like the 18.
I'm like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
It didn't matter. Then again, Illinois completely closed. Guns N' Roses coming to town. Remember, only half of Wrigley Field was open, but Guns N' Roses was coming. So let's open up the ballpark again.
It's all money.
See, so that's what makes it to the point where it just gets.
I just want us to be able to do, if we're going to make decisions like that for everyone, we should be able to talk about it, and we're not allowed to.
Yeah, and I don't understand. So I'm just going to go right into something. Last election that we had,
Yeah.
was it rigged?
I think there was something nefarious going on.
I agree.
Yeah, otherwise, we'd be able to talk about it. Anything we're not allowed to talk about, I mean, they say we're able to talk about it, but it's not.
I just don't understand why two men or two women, people can't sit down and say, hey, I don't like your shirt, or I don't like your car, or whatever. You bought that. I got a base, so you got a base. Well, why'd you buy that base? This base is the best base.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Sure.
And what they're doing in this world right now, Dino, I mean, what's going on?
You want my real take on it? Because
Yeah,
you can go back and forth with this left and right. Like,
No, I mean-
I believe that they are going to make life, everything so disgusting for everyone. And both sides are doing this. I don't think it's just one side. I think it's both sides. I believe that Fox News, I've said it very early on that they're controlled opposition, meaning
Sure.
like the Democrats are not, the Democrats and the Republicans are one and the same.
Sure.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be totally against Trump. Like, because he was an outsider.
Yeah.
There's something about
Good
there.
point
Like,
there,
something's
good point.
weird about that. Why would they both go against him? You think that someone would embrace
Someone
him?
embrace them.
People did, but
Well, here's what I didn't get. When he goes, they're not after me. They're after you. You're
Yeah.
just in the way.
yeah.
I mean, because, look,
Well, to be fair,
yeah.
I wish there was a different person there because he's a complete moron.
If it was a different person, this never would be happening.
I know, but is he a part of the whole deal? Maybe he had
Who
to be a
knows?
moron. And let me get to
Good point.
my real point
Yeah.
is that if it's controlled opposition, if both sides are being controlled
Yeah.
by the same entity,
Yeah.
then and I've read this. It was Myron Fagan. If you look him up, Myron Fagan in 1967. He had a speech that he had done on it was on the Illuminati and people taking over and world order and what they wanted to do. And he talks about how racial strife in America needs to happen for these people to win over America. Why they want to do it? They want to make the public and everybody so upset with everything that's going on so that we scream out as people for something to fix it. And what that fix is, New World Order. That's what he said. And you know what? The more I back out of it, because at the time when I was watching, I was like, I really didn't have an opinion of it.
Sure.
But man, a lot of that stuff and all the stuff that he was talking about that has come to pass. Myron C. Fagan. It's like a history of the
It's
Illuminati.
almost like and even Trump, some of the stuff that he said was going to happen has all happened.
Sure.
It's scary.
But I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
He's got
Why are they storing all of this food underground? You
Yeah.
see these trucks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
why?
Why?
Because once the New World Order hits, they'll be like, we can sell food. We got it. We got it all stored away.
It is, yeah.
And they start feeding people. And you're like, you're going to be like, you're going to give into it. Because you're going to be like, it's just racial strife, blacks against whites, everything.
The end result is socialism and end result of wealth. Poor gets poorer, power gets wonderful. Mary, you're absolutely right on that. Ken, how you doing? Albert, Tony, how you doing? Yeah, folks, we are here live at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum in Joliet, Route 66. Dino Manzella from Seventh Heaven. I want to hit basically just a little bit on the cruise because I also want to get Ron on here too. So January 7th to January 14th, 2024, 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise. Woo, 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 woo. Mastermind Richie and Seventh Heaven have been doing it for years now. Have been very successful. I was gracious. They were nice enough to invite us on this. It is so cool, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Florida, Coco Cay, Bahamas, private island just for the Wonders of the Sea ship, the biggest ship on the water right now, and it's four football fields long. 4, ladies and gentlemen. Then you're going to stop at St. Thomas, St. Martin. You're going to see Mojo's Jukebox, my new rock band. You're going to see Tony Ocean in the main event band. Seventh Heaven. One boat, 7 days.
You know,
can't beat
and
this.
you look at the price. The price is not high.
Well, those prices, those special, according to Mary, those prices are gone. But the prices are
But
still
they're pretty low.
they're still
I mean,
cheap.
think about it. You got a week. Is it 8 days or is it
Seven.
7? 7
Seven,
days.
seven.
Last time was 8. So 7 days, but I mean, you're paying up. So it's like you could stay at a hotel for
Absolutely.
more money. It would be more money for a hotel, and they're on the ship. They pay for all your food, and you go to good weather. It's
And
right in the middle of January.
They got great drink packages if you guys are drinkers. So it's an incredible deal. And think about this, folks. It's shitty here in January. It's cold. This way to go out and have some great music. I am so humbled that Ocean people, Tony Ocean fans, have bought onto this. And what I like about it is not only do I get to perform and with these great other people too, but I get to sit and spend time with people when we're not working, which is the great thing. Dino, you've been on how many now?
What
These
the cruises? 8, 9, I don't know, a lot.
You have a lot of fun?
Oh, I have a lot of fun.
You and your wife, everybody enjoy it?
Yes, yeah.
Very cool.
I only went. I think there was only one time I went without her.
Okay.
So, and that was a terrible time.
Terrible.
So she makes.
How many years are
everything-
you married, sir?
9.
God bless. And we were talking a bit about this. How do you keep it together? Like you said, honey, gotta go.
Communication.
Friday.
It's
Yeah.
all communication.
But honey,
One of the things that really it's solving problems together. One of the things we did, like early on, she was having trouble having parking over at one of the Seventh Heaven shows, and I said she was calling up. She was frustrated. She goes, "Just let me deal with it." I go, and this was when we were engaged. I said, "You're setting a precedence for something that we are not going to want. Where you go off and solve your problem alone." I said, "Work with me. I will find you parking with you. Work with me, and we never have to work away from each other." And that was the key. And once she agreed that was the way to do it, and we got through it, and we hugged and everything, never turned back.
Sicilian, Italian, completely different.
Yeah, German, English, and she's adopted.
So you guys were we were partners
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
war. at one
Blonde
time,
hair,
the
blue
Germans
eyes.
and the Italians.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Tall
Very
blonde.
cool. All right, throw something out at you because over here there's no filter in this show, which I love.
Oh boy,
Very cool. No filter at all, folks.
Well, I don't
Let's
swear.
go this. I'm not talking about swearing, but yeah, okay. Is it the rifle? Is it the gun? Or is it the person? Because everybody's complaining about the gun thing.
We've had guns since the 1800s. I don't think it's the gun. And the gun, from my belief, the gun has always been to make sure that tyranny didn't take over America.
Absolutely. And they want to get rid of the guns. They want to get rid of them.
Well, those days are, like I said, think about it. If they disarm us, then racial strife is going to get worse. It never gets better. It wouldn't get better if you disarm the population,
Good point there.
because someone's going to find a weapon
Someone's going to find something.
and they're going to print their own guns. They can't stop this.
No, they can't. It's just like blaming the DUI
No,
on the
they're-
booze and not the person behind the wheel.
Yeah, I've heard that argument too.
You hear
yeah.
that a lot of times. New music.
Mhm.
Is there new music? Is there?
Not by choice. Meaning, back in the day, you had like Sky Daniels on the Loop and stuff like that, and he would go out of his way and just people would send him records, and he would listen through them and like, oh, this is a good song, or that's a good song, and he'd put it on his rotation.
Sure.
Then other people would hear that song, they'd be like, you know what, that could go on my rotation. We don't have that anymore. Instead, we've got the payola thing. It's not payola like I don't pay you to play me.
But years ago, that was
Yeah.
big. A lot of people got in trouble for that.
Yes, but they changed it around. Now you pay someone. I don't know, I'm allowed to say this. Now you pay. I don't know this from experience. I've read this somewhere. You pay someone to evaluate your song, and if they evaluate it and they say, "Hey, I think it's like enough money, I could suggest that to another person,"
person.
and that's what it is. It's a different version of it. It's the same thing.
And in your opinion, there's never going to be another Zeppelin, Journey,
They can't.
Stones,
They can't.
Styx,
The
whatever.
big bands can't do it because what happens is that on the second record, after the second record, what they end up doing is the band goes in to renegotiate. This is where they make the most money.
Yeah.
But to someone who owns the checkbook, they don't make as much money on the third album. They make it on the first two.
Yeah.
And the third one, they don't really make as much money. So there's no support.
And that makes complete sense. I just
about the
don't
money.
get, and do you actually believe that there's actually original songs anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
I mean, Ed Sheeran right now is in court because they said he stole What's Going On by Marvin Gaye.
Okay.
Okay, and
That's inspiration. I mean, we're
Right.
going to go into sampling and everything else.
that's what I'm talking about there too. But it just seems like these songs are just taken and just kind of changed. And
Now, movies do the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a comic book.
what's
There's a movie
and
or-
I'm not into the new stuff, so I couldn't tell you. But what's a hot band right now worldwide that could be like an old Zeppelin or become the next? Who would you say
Seventh Heaven?
besides Seventh Heaven?
No.
And
Because
love Seventh
I
Heaven.
do believe that their songs are good enough that
They got
we
great
could-
songs, absolutely. A lot of original stuff too. People might not realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't listen to anything.
See?
I listen to all my old stuff.
Me too. When I'm still cranking the Bay City Rollers.
I'm
you know
forced
we're
to
in
listen
trouble.
to Seventh Heaven. That's my problem.
That's it. Okay, you're Sicilian.
Yeah.
Can you date a third cousin?
Yeah, as long as you don't have babies.
Okay, can you marry a third cousin?
Oh, as long as you don't have babies.
When does the cousin stop being
I
a
can't.
cousin?
I'm married. I mean,
When,
it's
do you,
kind of a weird
when does the
question.
cousin stop being a cousin? It
Oh,
can't
man,
be-
why is this?
Well, it
There's no
can't be-
filter.
It
Wow.
can't go to eighth cousin, right? It can't be.
I don't know. Maybe.
You can't. You can't. Really? This is my 27th cousin. I can sleep with him. I mean, or her. You know what I mean? How does that work?
I don't know. That's a weird question.
Right? I just figured I'd throw that out
All
there.
right.
You know? All right. Anyway, see, you
Are
never
you
know what
you're
you're gonna
thinking,
get.
like,
You know, I'm just
do you know
thinking
anybody that has that problem?
No, I know. I'm just saying myself. I know a couple people that married their third cousin, and you can't.
Yeah, but you started out with Sicilian, so that's why I was just like, is
Sicilian
this
and Italian because you're not Italian. Like if I call you Italian, you get upset. So I got to call you
can't, yeah.
Sicilian. Absolutely.
my grandmother would be upset.
Your grandmother would be upset.
Yeah, she'd hurt.
Let's go to Hollywood real fast. Chris Rock, Will Smith, was that set up?
Yeah,
I thought so too.
yeah. There was a movie where it was. I saw a movie clip of it. It was.
And now it was just on some big news thing right now saying that they're enemies,
It's
can't stand each other.
whatever.
That was pretty cool.
It's just more of the same. I don't care. Like
Yeah.
why even? I don't need them in my life.
That makes a lot of sense. And why some of this stuff actually gets prime time is amazing to me.
Agreed.
Ocean's Pit, little show about it. One more thing real fast. What's on your bucket list that you haven't done yet?
Kick in the bucket.
Kicking up. You don't want to do anything that you haven't done that you want to do.
Oh gosh, I want to live in Sicily.
Do you really? Have you been there?
Yeah.
It's beautiful, Italy.
It
I've
is.
been there too many times.
Yeah, my wife and I went there for a honeymoon, and we loved it.
Yeah.
Tormina.
So I mean,
Yeah, and the funny thing is, she could speak Italian. I can't speak I can't speak a lick of it. So
you don't
but
even know the swear words?
I only know the swear words, but that
Okay.
would only get me into fist fights there. I don't want to use those. But we would go there, and then if we walked up together, they would speak to us in English or in English. If I walked up alone, they would speak to me in Italian. I'd be like, I don't
See,
know.
that's how that works. The verdict in, ComEd, guilty on all counts. Looks like Madigan's next. They're going to really need to come down and
There's no control. We can't.
There is.
I don't think voting works.
doesn't work. We lost the great Gordon Lightfoot yesterday. Of course, they
Yeah.
call him the Canadian Elvis. He had some good songs.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. I'm going to leave you with one question because I want to get Ron up here too. One
Sure.
question. You hear about the 14-year-olds now will be able to serve booze in Wisconsin. What do you think of that? They're trying to pass this. That a 14-year-old,
With all the stuff that they've been doing to kids lately, it doesn't surprise me. They're trying to. At the first time I heard of it, I didn't know that was happening.
yeah.
I hope it doesn't happen.
It's just a little
Why
crazy.
what's the reason? Wait, I mean, they can't find people to work, so they're going to find 14-year-olds? What's the reason?
I don't
The
know.
only thing I can think of is that like the restaurant business needed to okay, we got these waiter staff, and then they're going to be able to serve. I can't see them like at a bar, like they're like the bar's going to be up here on.
Yeah, like, how
So-
can I help you? Yeah, I can see that. And just this whole Epstein Island thing.
We'll never find it out
But
because
did
no
you
one
know-
cares.
I don't know if anybody cares. I think what Sandy cares. If they throw somebody to the wolves, usually when something goes down, Watergate, somebody gets thrown to the wolves.
Sure.
Nobody got thrown to the wolves. That means people are in on it.
Yeah.
That means Hollywood. Mel Gibson got boycotted years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't only because of the Jews comment thing he made. Whatever. He said something with the sex trafficking.
Yeah, he was talking about how vampires like bleeding the children or
It's
something.
It's not the sex. It's the blood or something gives them something.
Well, there's some truth behind that if you look it up, and if you want to go conspiracy theory.
Yeah, right.
But where they take the blood of frightened people, and if you inject that in you, that you get this real weird, like, I don't know. It's supposed to be the best thing ever. And you look it up. It's some crazy stuff. But then if they're doing it where they're frightening children, I don't know, maybe I hope they're not killing them. But if they're draining their blood,
besides anything else they might be doing to them. But I'm trying to say there's not one person that can. I mean, that Epstein, they arrested
Mel Gibson,
him.
Yeah,
he hung himself supposedly. Someone killed him. Yeah,
if he's dead,
and the girl,
because his body looked different. Different ears,
different ears. You see that too? Yeah. Good point. Dino, this is good. We got about 10 minutes here. Anything else you want before we bring Ron on?
I think Ron needs some time.
Absolutely.
This is a beautiful place. Ron, thank you very much for having us.
Ron, come up here, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Ocean's Pit, little show about big things. Let's bring the man behind the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum. Let's get him in here, folks. It's like musical chairs here. Hey, Chief.
How are you? How you doing?
Hi, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks for having me.
What a beautiful thing you got going on over here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I asked you some of these questions off the air, but let's get your point. Why did you want to get involved in something like this?
Well, I think there's such
Illinois
great
needs
history of Illinois. I think I'm just surprised it hasn't happened already.
Correct.
We have such great music from Illinois. This was going to be an exhibit at another museum at one point. The thesis I wrote was how music from Illinois was inspiration to other parts of the world. And we talked about this a little bit before. Muddy Waters, I mean, his song Rolling Stone became the Rolling Stones name.
Yeah, right.
Or I Can't Be Satisfied turned into I Can't Get No Satisfaction.
Yeah.
Or Led Zeppelin using all of Willie Dixon's music. I think the Illinois music has a big inspiration for the rest of the world, and we just never claimed it. Our mission is to honor, preserve, and promote music from Illinois.
Perfect location, Joliet, Route 66. Great idea with that. Did it take time for them to agree to have this here? Did you have a fight with that once?
No, not really. I mean, it's not really. We didn't have to get permissions or anything. We purchased the building in 2019.
All right.
This is owned by our organization, and we are a grassroots organization. So it's not like we were, well-off developers who came in here with millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It's a total of $6.6 million project. And about $1 million of it right now has been donations from union trades and from individuals, and over 850 charter members from 3 countries. So it's growing. I mean, there's people get what it is about Illinois music.
Well, you said you're going to have classes here too, teaching recording and music and stuff like that. That's fantastic. That's going to help the kids, the younger generation, anybody that wants to learn and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's part of our mission. Like I said, to honor, preserve, and promote. We want to teach students. We'll introduce them to teachers here that could teach not only instruments but music industry things like sound and lighting and songwriting or publishing or things like that. So we'll be able to hook up the right teachers with the right students and try to help them. Not everybody's born to be a rock star. Some of us are. Yeah.
But you need all those things to make it work. You had some great people inducted, which is kind of cool with that. I mean, name the top 5 right now.
REO, Styx, Muddy Waters, Buddy Guy, Cheap Trick, Chicago. Yeah. Everybody's been very receptive. We're September of this year, 2023. We're going to have our 3rd annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We're looking forward to that. So we have it seems like an endless list of music from Illinois.
And I like that you're also doing the DJs, Dick Bianchi, Larry Lujak, Bob Serato, all those. That's very kind of cool.
And the radio stations too. We think that's a very important part
some of the stuff that you have in here was, where did you find some of this, like the radio stuff from LS or some of these? Did the bands donate some of their
Yeah.
stuff like that?
It's a
Cool.
mix of a few things. It's the bands donating super fans of bands or artists. We have a complete Styx collection coming in from a couple in New York. It could be a touring musician or touring museum in itself.
Very cool.
We've got original handwritten lyrics by REO Speedwagon here, or guitars that were played on, or clothing, or it just.
Is there anything that you're looking for you haven't got that maybe someone does have?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're looking for the clothing, the drums, the guitars, from just about anything right now. I mean, we have some things that we have in stock here already now that we've taken in. There's more stuff coming, but it's kind of an interesting thing because this is. I'll tell you, I didn't come in here with all the knowledge of Illinois music, but I think I had a fairly healthy knowledge. Sure. But the best part of this is learning and meeting people. And I get to meet, a lot of my rock and roll and other types of music heroes, and get to meet their families and talk to them. And it's been interesting.
Can people come in here now? Is it open to the public?
It's not open to the public. We do invite charter members to come through, and we give them a tour to show them what their donations and what their support is doing.
And how do you become a charter member?
Real simple. You just go to the roadtorock.org website. It's roadtorock.org.
Okay.
It gives you all the information about what we're doing, about the Hall of Fame, about how to become a charter member, pretty much anything that we're all about.
That's fantastic. And eventually you're going to have live concerts here.
Oh, yeah.
Make it into a venue.
Yeah, you can kind of see over my shoulders here. We're sitting in the education area down in the lower level. This holds about 85 people here, and the upper level will hold about 300 people.
That's fantastic here. A lot of stuff that you're doing, Ron Romero, from the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum, not to get confused with the Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
You did have some slack from them, I guess.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We were told that we couldn't use the words of Illinois, or we couldn't use Rock and Roll or Hall of Fame. And our legal name is the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66.
But like you said, there's also is a section where there's a Hall of Fame inside here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't get.
Yeah, how do we not acknowledge the musicians that have done so well from the state of Illinois? So what would
you say? Who is the biggest? Let's say, sales wise, biggest band ever to come out of Chicago.
Wow. I really never did a study on that, but you can think of Chicago and Cheap Trick and REO. They're not slackers. Yeah. Styx. Yeah, Styx. I mean, there's so many great bands from Illinois.
So I'm trying to figure out, even though Trick had a lot of records out, they didn't really have that many. If you think that's much because of us being in the Dream Police. If you're not a real Cheap Trick fan, you only know like 3 of their songs.
Sure.
So you really have to be a fan, and they had so many great songs. But when Styx plays, Chicago plays, REO, and then there's like 10
their
or 15.
Catalog is
boom, boom, right after a row, which people, it's important, which I think. But there's a lot of great groups, and like you were saying, a lot of record companies. Ron, why do you think the record labels and people, agents, why do you think they all left Chicago? I asked that to Dino earlier.
Why they left? I don't know. Fair question. Maybe because we didn't recognize them here. I'm not sure until now. I have no idea. It could be business matters, being closer to where more action is. I don't know, to be honest with you.
And what do you think it takes for a band to get signed and go over that top? There's a lot of bands that put out. They give you what do you call it when they give you that certain amount? Record labels give you that certain amount of money to make
advance,
make a record, and then we don't know if it's going to sell.
Well, I think music itself needs to be treated as a business, and I think that the people who are in charge think of it as a business. So if you're an up-and-coming band that has no proof in concept, businesses may not take a look at that. But if you, just as an example, not an Illinois band, but Hootie and the Blowfish, they sold like 100,000 albums before they were even accepted on their own at concerts. They did quite a bit. It may be a little less than that, but the point is that they created a proof in concept in their business model and their marketing, in their branding, and that's a little less work for the record
Yeah, but
industry. I
like
suppose.
now, the 16, 17-year-old can get on TikTok, billion views.
Oh, it's changed. I mean, in our day, we wanted to get the records and open up the records
Yeah.
and read the material,
Smell it.
Smell
you
it,
had to touch it, and you had to hear it. and you
read who played on it, and
But now you
the
learn-
liner notes, the liner notes.
the liner notes, and now you want to learn music. Remember having to put that needle on the record and then back it up and then back it up and maybe slow it down.
Yeah, slow it
Now you go to YouTube and you can actually watch the original artist and you can slow it down without changing the pitch and watch them play or watch somebody interpret that. Or the change in technology, it's just, I think it, and you mentioned COVID before. How did that change the industry? I mean, you're talking about going and listening to people live. You can stay at home and watch a live concert now. I mean, it's nothing beats being in the room
Correct.
and feeling that music,
Right. Being part of that.
being part of that. But yeah,
And then you're also seeing, I noticed a big, two other things. You're seeing cover bands are just blowing out of the water.
yeah.
I mean, I've seen a couple of them, the ABBA, the New York Bee Gees. I mean, wow. I mean, at one time we were growing up, it was like American English. There was like, a couple of Elvis guy, Rick Sacito.
They were ahead of their time, for
and now
sure.
you've got bands that are coming out making more probably money than the original artist. Why do you think that is? Because there's not any acts anymore?
Well, I think, no, actually, I think part of that is it's, can you imagine how many bands that the Beatles have given careers to?
Yeah.
I mean, the Beatle bands that go out and play now in American English, you mentioned them, one of my favorites
Yeah, me
all
too.
time.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a good way for bands to go out and give a product, especially with ticket prices. You go to see somebody like the Eagles and it's $250 to get back row,
Yeah.
if you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can see somebody perform that great catalog of music.
Yeah.
And it's, for me as a musician, at one time I was doing over 300 shows a year and hauling gear and playing, and it just becomes too much work. So you come out with a good product, a good business plan, and you run it like a business.
Yeah.
And a good example, of course, is Seventh Heaven. Look
Sure.
at what they've done.
Yeah.
The crowds that they play to, the music that they create. It's a good plan to be able to come out and do that kind of stuff.
And they change
provide
it.
that.
They come up with, the 30 what is it?
30 songs in 30 minutes.
And
Medleys.
they change it.
Yeah.
Once a year, I think he comes up, or maybe more than once. He was in the studio. Richie was doing. So they were coming up with a brand new one,
Yeah.
reinventing the wheel.
Reinventing is important in any business, I think, and certainly music. You can't be stagnant and expect people, because people's music change. Music, likes, they change over the years, so you have to kind of keep up with that.
I agree. That's very important.
Yeah.
Ron Romero and Odino Manzella, folks, here at the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum, Route 66, Joliet. Let's thank one last sponsor here before I got to ask you guys one more question before we go out, even though it's past the hour. I'm going to keep going because it's just too good to quit here real fast, just real. I'm just losing it right now because I can't pay attention. Patriot Funding, Patriot Funding Incorporated, folks. Money, commercial lending at its finest when timing is everything. That's Patriot Funding Incorporated. Dave Antonelli, buy local, shop local. 630-675-4730. And let's not forget our good buddies from Ace Hardware, Norwich, Displays, Evergreen Park, Warrenville. Remember, they've been helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods. You want $20 off any grill purchase? Say, hey, I want to grill my Ace off. And you're going to get $20 off. Ace, a great place, folks. Buy local, shop local. Remember, they've been helping neighbors before they were neighborhoods. Ocean's Pit, little show about big things. Music, one more thing here before we go, folks. I am just happy to be here at the beautiful Illinois Rock and Roll Museum, Route 66, Joliet, Illinois. I'm just trying to, I want to say a quick happy birthday to my daughter, Gianna. Honey, we'll see you soon. I love you very much. Happy birthday with that. Guys, both of you, a quick question here real fast.
Come on in.
Music, Dino, Ron. It's just never going to be the same as it was with music, though. You're never going to have that. Gotta go see that band. They're going to be fantastic. That's gone.
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's the bullet pointed society that we're in now is causing that. Meaning we're not giving bands enough chance to show us their originals. You were asking about best bands like up and coming.
Yeah, yeah.
Seventh Heaven's on my mind because I hear that all the time,
Sure.
and I've given them a chance because I've heard every concert.
Right.
But there's also bands like 1096. They have some great
Great
originals.
songs, sure.
I mean, great ones. They could really be good. But who's giving them a chance?
Nobody.
And they won't because
Is it
of how we're conditioned.
Or is it because they're old? If they were 23-year-old kids on
But they wouldn't have anything to do. Meaning, like when we were younger, and like we go to the Whale, and just whoever was there, we would listen to them, and we'd be in awe.
We didn't care. Right. Exactly. Almost like when MTV came out with the music video,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Duran Duran. Then you looked at Kansas, you're like, who the hell who rubbed the bottom and let these guys out? Because they were they were afraid to put them on video because of the way they looked.
yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's just scary for the younger generation. The music is. How long are these venues going to be here?
That's a fair question. I mean, like we just said, you have to reinvent yourself. But for an old guy like me, I like a certain genre. Not that I don't or dislike other genres, but we talked about this. We're both big Cheap Trick fans.
Power pop is.
I will
one of
listen
my
to
favorites.
mine too, Power Pop. I could listen to it all day, and I'm happy in that world. And music, I hear people say things like, "Oh, I'll never listen to rap," or "I'll never listen to country," "I'll never listen to whatever it may be." But it's like music to me is whatever turns you on.
Yeah.
It's not for me to tell you don't listen to this or it's crap or it's this.
Right.
Music is subjective. It's what you want to be. I just happen to like a certain genre, and that's kind of where I live.
But
I should expand
Is it like you
beyond
won't?
that.
But are you not willing to look into other? Meaning,
No.
Like right now, I'm not going skydiving. Not because I don't think that I'd be a skydiver, but because I never grew up doing it. I'm not interested
Yeah.
in doing it
You're
now.
not doing it.
Right.
Right.
But if I had done it my whole life, I'd be into it. So are you
I don't
into
think-
that music because of that?
I don't think so. I'm just about finishing up a book about Illinois music, and one of the things that I had written about is how does music make you feel? It takes you back to your first kiss. It takes you back to a bad time. It takes you back to a good time. When you find that home, I think for me, that's where I live.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. So I tend not to listen to a lot of new music because I'm happy where I'm at. It's wrong. I know. I want to go beyond that.
I'm just saying.
But I'm happy living in that home of that power pop or
Sure.
whatever type of music
Yeah.
it is. But the other thing is how music has changed. When you take an old band, like I'm going to use an example as Beatles or Eagles,
Yeah.
there's melody, there's harmony, there's all sorts of components to that music. And I think part of that is being lost now.
Yeah.
Like we're missing that. There's not a lot of harmony-based bands as there used to be. When Beatles came out, everybody grabbed their tennis rackets and they wanted to be like the Beatles, and they learned to play the instruments.
Sure.
Where is that influence now? Because you see a lot of singers going out singing to tracks, or you sing, something where's the full band? Where's the things that we used to have?
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
that.
yeah. That
Who
makes-
influences the younger kids to say, "Hey, I want to grab a guitar and play now"?
I mean, like Taylor Swift, for instance. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. My daughter loves her, but she's a young person, young girl. I don't know how old she is, but she's had so many breakups, and these songs, the breakups makes these number one records.
Yeah.
How many records?
And
And
people-
guys she's left. I mean, how many relationships can she's had? She's 26, like 28 years old.
Yeah.
But
But
people, that's what
the
they hear.
genre or that the generation can relate to that. That's their home. So they go to that because they're living that same, life. Maybe not the same life as Taylor, but certainly that same age group probably
Same age group.
sees.
They can associate with her pain
and what they're going through.
And Paul Sedati, her guitar player, loves things like Van Halen and stuff like that. He's an older guy, like us, but he's still a rocker and listens to that stuff.
Still
So,
loves that stuff.
yeah.
Last question. Was the greatest greatest band ever? Was it the Beatles? Overrated.
Wow.
Overrated?
I would think you would
Beatles,
say
wait,
that,
Beatles
absolutely.
overrated or not? Or were they just at the right place at the right time?
No, they definitely are. They deserve what they have. I mean,
Okay.
their harmonies were unique. He knows more about that band than I do. I wasn't really a fan of them when I was growing up.
Sure.
I was more of a fan of with Paul McCartney Wings.
Okay.
That band
Great-
on the
great
Run
band
album
too, yeah.
played it. I
Sure.
mean, we had it on quadraphonic in my
Mhm.
Yeah, okay,
in a
sure.
8-track.
Sure.
But you would have more to say about the Beatles than I would.
I think the Beatles certainly it energized everybody, and it happened at the right time. It
Yeah.
was right after Kennedy had been shot.
Yep.
They had come to George Harrison was here months in 1963, just before the big hit in 1964.
Because his sister did.
He walked off the plane like you and I would walk off the
Yeah.
plane. And then months later, they're being mobbed.
Yeah.
It was just at the right time. But the music, the recording processes, what they did, the melody, the harmony, that
George
existed.
Martin.
Yeah. I always imagined if I ever had the chance to interview Paul McCartney, I wouldn't ask the same questions like, what was it like to play in Germany? I'd ask, what did you think about the change in technology when you guys first started?
Yeah.
When they played the stadiums, they were in the PA system that you'd hear the guy go,
Right.
and now you have
B16,
right?
B16. Yeah, it's like
So, and
I would
then,
catch holy hell if I was did something
and,
like that.
Right.
and if you see them playing the old videos, there's no monitors in front of them.
Yeah,
They're playing just through their amps.
And they're watching Ringo. I mean,
Yeah.
they're watching Ringo.
It's all visual because they can't hear over the
They
screen.
can't know what's going on.
So,
I wish
yeah.
we could talk more, everybody, but we're way over the hour. Ocean Spit, we got Ron Romero. Everybody, thank you, Ron,
Thanks,
so
buddy.
much.
Good to see you.
Dino Manzella, folks, Seventh Heaven. Guys, Illinois Rock and Roll Museum, Route 66 in Joliet, folks. Remember, again, check the website, TonyOceanMusic.com. Give us a call, 847-769-8609. Thursday will be at Zaza's in Lake Barrington, Friday, Chicago Prime Steakhouse. And I just want to thank you guys for watching the show every day. Remember, thank you for supporting local establishments and live entertainment. Very, very important.
Yes.
Buy local, shop local. It's very important. Be kind to everybody out
Check
there,
out the
man.
museum.
Check out the museum. Become a member.
RoadToRock.org.
There you go. And check out where Seventh Heaven is going to be playing and we're at. A lot of fun. Remember the great words of Ringo Starr, peace and love. With all the division, everything that's going on in this world, politics, religion, whatever it is, music is what's keeping us all together. So peace and love, as Ringo would say. Thank you, guys. God bless you very much. Have a great day. Nick Sahajas, the piano man. Take us out.
Time to go, it's the end of the show. See you later from Tony O.
I mean, you can just talk and talk. I mean, power pop, I still listen to every day.
Between all of us having ADD and the love for music, we could be here all night.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.